What's going on, my friends? Fifth quarter chat doing here, where the Timberwolves have just taken out the Portland Trailblazers by a final score of 119 to 114. And really, the Blazers did a lot of the things that I had talked about in the pregame that I wanted to see tonight. We knew going into the game they were going to be shorthanded. No Malcolm Brogdon, no Scoot Henderson, DeAndre Ayton was unavailable, no Jeremy Grant. So most of their lineup was out of the game tonight. And we saw a starting lineup of Delano Banton, Jabari Walker, Duop Reef, Chris Murray, and Anthony Simons. That's amazing to me. Ryan Rupert got 23 minutes tonight, and this mixed match kind of lineup for Chauncey Billups went out there and grinded and battled, and they remained within striking distance going into the fourth quarter, and that was kind of my goal for this group, was to be in a position to be able to win the game in the fourth, but Minnesota opened up that fourth quarter and really came out strong, and they went up by 15, and before you knew it, Portland was behind the eight ball trying to get back in the game. They pulled it within 6 late, but just 30 seconds on the clock. They couldn't get over the hump. And Portland ends up the road trip at 2-1. And it's like we always say when it comes to NBA, when you go on a road trip and you come back, at 500 or better, you got to feel pretty good about that. Minnesota, one of the best teams in the NBA. They've been right up there at the top of the Western Conference throughout the course of the season. And they were game tonight, but Portland battled. This group that's out there with some of the guys that we've seen get action over the last few nights in Memphis and tonight in Minnesota. Ashton Hagans is a feisty player. He's aggressive. He got 20 minutes tonight. Delano Banton played over 30, scored 18 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Jabari Walker tonight, 28 minutes, just 4 points on 2 of 9 shooting. Duop Reeves scored a career-high 26 on 10 of 14 shooting. He was 5 of 6 from downtown. What a find. What a find. There's plenty of negative when you look at a season like the Trailblazers have had, but when you look at the positives, Duop Reeves' story and what he's been able to accomplish is absolutely one of the best. I've been impressed with his play. I'm a big fan of pick-and-pop centers. He's smart. He knows how to get to his spots on the floor. He was terrific tonight. Chris Murray, 14 points, 6 of 11 shooting. Not bad. Only 1 of 5 from downtown, but 2 of the 3 games on this trip, he was able to be productive and shoot the ball a little bit better. And that's a good thing. And Anthony Simons, got to give him major props. He played huge minutes in the overtime victory in Memphis on Saturday, 44 minutes. And he came into tonight, and he had to carry the team once again, 43 minutes. He scored 34 points, dished out 14 assists. That's a career high. 13 of 26 from the floor. He was 5 of 13 from downtown. I was curious as to how he would play tonight. How would he deal with the fatigue? How would he deal with the pressure and the length and the defense that Minnesota brings to the table? We've seen him struggle against the Timberwolves on the season, but he really came out and set the tone and played very well. The big issue tonight for Portland was the foul disparity. Minnesota, with their size, able to attack the paint, and they got full advantage. They were plus 20 at the free throw line tonight. They put up 37 foul shots to the Trailblazers 11. 26 more free throws. They ended up scoring 20 more points at the foul line, and that was a big issue. The other keys that I focused on tonight, ball movement and player movement. Portland had 28 assists tonight, which is very good, and they got multiple players involved in being able to knock down shots and be a part of the action, which was critical. Rebounding. We knew that was going to be a problem going into the game tonight because of Minnesota's length and Rudy Gobert and the assortment of issues that they've, that you get hit with when you face a team of that size. But Portland tonight, they hung in there, and they actually were +1 in rebounding, 41-40, and they pulled down 12 offensive rebounds. So they moved the ball with 28 assists. They did a good job in out-rebounding the Timberwolves. They kept that number pretty much even, which is great. And the other key was, really just getting off to a good start and playing with intensity, because we saw them kind of, lag behind in that game against Memphis, and they started the game strong. They were in the game in the first quarter playing well. They jumped out to a 9-2 lead. They kept the game close going into halftime, and they were down by just 6 at the end of 3. So they were prepared mentally to play this game. They came out ready to go, but the issue with the size of Minnesota, they pounded them inside, they got to the free throw line, and they took advantage. Tonight for the Timberwolves, Rudy Gobert tonight, 25 points, 16 rebounds. They got 19 points, 7 assists from Mike Conley. Jaden McDaniels just scored 14 points from Carl Anthony Towns and Nikhil Alexander Walker with 13. Off the bench, they got 13 from Anthony Edwards and 12 from Naz Reid. The Timberwolves shot 50% from the floor. They were 11 of 28 for 39% from downtown. And the big advantage at the foul line, 28 of 37 from the foul line. They were plus 20 on the night in free throws. The points in the paint, Minnesota tonight, just a 2-point edge, 56 to 54. And the Blazers did a good job of protecting the basketball, which is another one of my keys. 14 turnovers, but the Wolves did a terrific job. They converted 14 Trailblazer turnovers into 25 points. They were plus 9 in points off turnovers. Minnesota was just 11. So, again, when you play a team like Minnesota, you can play well, you can grind, you can get after it, but there are a lot of issues. They're good, and they defend, and they get stops. And you've got to be near perfect when you're playing in their building. And the Blazers just made too many mistakes with the fouls and the turnovers during key stretches of the game. And Minnesota capitalized. But Portland continued to hang in and continue to fight with a shorthanded roster, and that's very impressive. And big props to Delano Banton. The more I see from him, the more I like. I like his toughness. I like the way he plays. He's kind of fearless. And I like his length. Very impressive. Duop Reef, sensational tonight. And they got the leadership and Anthony Simon stepping up to do his best to carry this team. And they just didn't have enough late to get over the hump. He pulled them to within 6 on a pair of free throws and a 3 at 115 to 109. But Minnesota able to hold on and get a victory. Wow. So good road trip. Very good road trip for Portland. Shorthanded, not too many guys available. And they went out and they grinded and played the way that they had to play. And that's what you want to see from this group. Absolutely. Let's go out to the phone lines. Let's grab Victor in Turkey. Victor, appreciate the call. You're up on the 5th quarter. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Chad. Man, I'm so impressed with their performance tonight. I cannot tell you one of their best games as far as challenging the Timberwolves. As you said, Timberwolves is one of the best teams, and they're playing on their home court. And also, if you notice, Timberwolves, they won by the penalty shots. They had like 24, something like that, penalties on the on the penalty. Portland has, I think, less than 10. So there was a disparity, a big difference between foul shots, So you can say the Timberwolves, they won by the, of course, by the foul shots because they only won by 5 points. And they made like how many foul shots they made? Maybe 17, 18, 19. I don't remember how many.
The Timberwolves made 28 free throws tonight. The Blazers made 8. Minnesota was plus 20 in points at the foul line tonight. That's a big advantage.
Yeah, everybody can notice they won by the foul shots. And, I don't say that the referee, they didn't make a bad calls against Blazers, but it was a little bit, this disparity, It should be like a, 2-1, something like that, not 3 or 4-1. So that's one thing to notice. Another thing is, as you said, with the short-handed Blazer, they came and performance like this. To me, I cannot believe it. And I tell you something, because when I played the soccer as a intense, with the big guys or stronger physical guys, and when you play with that, it's different when you watch a game because I can feel right now because I played the intense games. When I watch those players like the Minnesota, believe me, they're gonna have a nightmare tonight. You won't believe it. When they were they were laughing. Sometimes they will laugh, or when they were dancing in the third quarter. They made a couple of things. They were dancing. Chad, all those laughing is phony. It's just a phony. You think I'm excited? No, the reason I'm excited because I know how they feel. Those guys, the Minnesota, they can never forget this game because they thought Well, just look at it logically. They thought they're going to come and blow up the Blazers because the Blazers they didn't have their main starter. They didn't have the biggest starters except Anthony Simon. So they thought, well, we're going to have a rule over the Blazers. That was their mentality and the coach too. But the Blazers, when they got them under the control, they were rattling, man. I could just feel it because I played those kind of games. It doesn't matter soccer or basketball. We're very similar. Now, what I'm saying is, first of all, they're going to remember that for the rest of their life next year, or if they play another game, they're going to remember that. And if we had DeAndre Ayton or Bogdan, if we had the Bogdan or the DeAndre, we could win this game. It's obvious. You could get this game easily. So what I'm saying is, it was unbelievable to me, the Blazer performance and the progress of the young players that they show really they can use them, in case, if they want to use them, they can use them. But Chad, at the last point, I want to tell you, my friend, I'm so proud of my guy, Anthony Simon. People were talking of, in the summertime, even including the Chris, your friend. He said, well, maybe we're going to trade Anthony Simon with OG and Obi, 3D player. I was maybe the only one. I said, well, I'm objection to that. And now this performance right now, Chad, I tell you, Anthony Simon is one step behind the Damian Lillard. One step behind. They are not equal, but one step behind. And that depends on the coach if they can make him, become that way, like a Damian Lillard, which was the king of the city of the Portland. So I'm very proud of Anthony Simon, and we can all remember of his assistantship, and the performance. But he did a lot of good, he did a lot of good other games too. But this one of the standout, I believe. What do you think about that?
Well, first off, good phone call, Victor. I appreciate that. I don't think Anthony Simons is anywhere close to the level of Dame, but we're seeing growth in Anthony. And tonight was a great example of that, where he was fatigued coming off the 44-minute performance against Memphis on Saturday. He played big minutes again tonight, where he was out there and the team relied upon him to get things done. And he played 43 minutes, and he played big time. And that's what they need from him. What I love about tonight's game, he played a pretty clean game. And that was against a team with a lot of pressure. He had 4 turnovers tonight, but he shot the ball much better. He got to his spots. He put up 34 points, had a career high 14 assists against a team that's given him a bunch of trouble this year. And that's credit to Anthony Simons. You need to see that from Ant, because this is the first year without Dame where, he's facing defenses he's never seen before, because teams know he's the Blazers' best option by far. So when he takes the floor, teams are running multiple guys at him, different looks, different guys. They're using all sorts of defensive pressure to try and get the ball out of his hands. And so he's having to adjust on the fly and learn how to play, how to get to his spots and do what he does, facing pressure he's never seen before. All right, Blazers take the loss 119 to 114. We'll come back. We'll give you your shot of the night and a scoreboard report, and then I'll give you a recap on the game. We will hear from Coach Phillips as well. It's the fifth quarter. Chad Doing and Mike Oakes with you here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
Slides it to Simons. Thought about the three, gives it to Walker. Ball fake, now he puts the three. Now to Simons, buries the triple from the corner. It's a 6-point game.
All right, checking the NBA scoreboard right now. Fourth quarter in Utah. The Jazz lead the Wizards 127-115. Jordan Clarkson, a big night, 38 points, 9 boards, and 7 assists. Halftime in Sacramento, the Kings on top of the Bulls, 56-49. De'Aaron Fox, 13 points at the half. Second quarter in Los Angeles on NBA TV. The Lakers lead the Thunder 37-27. Austin Reeves has 8 points early in that one. Finals from earlier tonight in the NBA. The Grizzlies going to Brooklyn and top the Nets 106-102. Luke Kennard, 25 points, 7 assists. A final in Milwaukee. The Bucks make it 6 straight. They top the Clippers 113-106. 41 points for Damian Lillard. And the Timberwolves over your Portland Trailblazers 119-114. Rudy Gobert with 25 points, 16 boards, 3 blocks. And Anthony Simons, 34 points, career high, 14 assists in the loss. And the game in Utah has just gone final. Jazz top the Wizards 127-115. Fifth quarter, Chad doing with you, along with Mike Oakes, where the Trailblazers lose by 5 to close out the 3-game road trip. They're going to come back home as they get ready to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. That will kick off a 6-game homestand. A recap of what went down tonight in Minnesota. The Blazers, well, they started fast tonight, and that was surprising considering who was out of the lineup. There was no Scoot Henderson, no Malcolm Brogdon, no DeAndre Ayton, and no Jeremy Grant, who was out with right quad soreness. And with those injuries, Delano Banton, Jabari Walker, Duop Reef, Chris Murray, and Anthony Simons was your starting 5. Now, you look at Minnesota, one of the best teams in the NBA. They've been near the top of the West. That didn't look like a close matchup on paper, but the Blazers grabbed a 9-2 lead. That run was capped off by Anthony Simons, who, well, he got things started early in this game, and, you know, it was really nice to see.
There's a deflection and a steal. Here's Simons on the other end. Wide open 3 in transition. Buries it, and the Blazers have a 9-2 lead to start this game.
That came just over the first 3 minutes of the game. Minnesota would use a 12-4 run to take a 14-13 lead just over the halfway point of the first. The rest of the quarter was back and forth with Minnesota leading 28-26 at the end of the first. The Blazers shot the ball very well in the first quarter, 57%, but Minnesota +9 at the three-point line and +3 at the foul line, and that was the difference. Delano Banton and Simons each scored 7 in the first quarter. The Blazers tied the game at 37 with 8 minutes left in the half, but Minnesota used a 10-2 run and took a 47-39 lead with 5:04 left in the half. The Blazers scored 6 straight to cut the deficit to 1 at 49-48, but the Wolves scored the final 6 points of the half to take a 7-point lead at 55-48 heading into halftime. Duop Reef led the Blazers with 14 points in the first half on 5 of 7 shooting, and Simons had 11. The Blazers committed 7 turnovers in the first half, leading to 10 points for the Wolves, and Minnesota shot 14 more free throws. They were +14 from the foul line in that first half. Now in the third, Minnesota built a double-digit lead at 75-62 with 7:20 to play, but Portland would battle back and show that they had another burst to get themselves right back in the game.
Dribbles left to the wing, 3 on the way. Yes! 21 for Simons. It's a 4-point game, 81-77.
The Blazers would go on to take an 18-8 run and cut the deficit to 3.
Reed for 3. Yes! Stop Reed from downtown. His 5th made 3 of the night, and he's got 22. 3-point game, 83-80. 1:40 to play in the third.
All right, the Timberwolves would take an 88-82 lead heading into the fourth quarter. Minnesota used the first 3.5 minutes of the fourth to drop 9 straight points, taking a 97-82 lead, finished off by a Monte Morris tip shot. The Wolves would push their lead to 15 at 102-87, but the Blazers continued to battle. Simons did his best to keep the Trailblazers close in that fourth quarter.
Under 5 minutes to play. Blazers down 12. Simons from way downtown buries it. Anthony Simons has got 29. It's 105-96. 6 straight from Simons, and the Blazers have cut it to single digits.
All right, 4:51 left in the game, but the Wolves quickly push their lead back to double digits thanks to the ageless wonder himself, Mike Conley Jr.
Now to Murray to the corner for Walker. Walker penetrates and drives, stops. Hook is swatted away with authority. And that might be the exclamation point in this game. Underneath, Edwards gives it up. They work it up top to Conley, open for 3. That's your game. 115-101, timeout, Chauncey Billups.
Well, it looked like it was over, but Anthony Simons, 34 points tonight. He was big time, and he finished off 8 straight points for the Blazers.
Slides it to Simons. Thought about the 3, gives it to Walker. Ball fake, now he puts the 3. Now to Simons, buries the triple from the corner. It's a 6-point game.
Well, there you go. The Blazers 115-109, but just 30 seconds left on the clock, and they were unable to get over the hump, and Portland takes the loss. Minnesota gets the win 119-114. Let's go out to the phones. Tall Tim joins us. Tall Tim, welcome back to the fifth quarter. What's up?
Hey, the perfect game. You make them go all the way down to the end, and you lose, because that's kind of where we're at right now. But beautiful game, really. I mean, who do we have out there besides Simons? And I really like that he's starting to figure out the double team, how to take advantage of that. That little pocket pass where the center, the big man, slips into the key, and then, and a couple of times he had a little loft over the top of the double team, or he's able to drag everybody to one side and then kick it back to the top for a shot. It's really, really impressive. And then, of course, just his ability to have that, just that will and the calmness to make big shots in the fourth quarter. I know everybody wants to see the rookies and the second-year guys get more minutes, and of course they've had injuries, so that's taken them out a little bit. But I want to see Simons. What has he got? Is he a number one guy? And I think you're starting to see that. I think he probably is. You got to obviously build guys around him that can do other things. But very impressive game. I mean, Duop-Reath is for a 26-year-old rookie. He's got a lot of assets to his game. I didn't know he could fake and drive as good as he can. And get in there and battle. I think he's gotten better at not getting a lot of dumb fouls. A lot of the other guys did a lot of things. They still obviously have holes in their game that they need to work on, which is where Minnesota kind of took advantage of that. But I love it when they have to keep those guys in till the end. For the kind of team we have, don't you think that's like a victory all by itself?
Oh, yeah, there's no question. It's a victory, and the Blazers, with their shorthanded roster, keep in mind how many starters were out tonight compared to what they started the season with. And they got a career high from Duop-Reath, 26. They got a career high from Ryan Rupert with 13. And the Blazers able to get the victory. It's impressive. And that's what Chauncey Billups wants with that group. You got guys out there, Delano Banton, Jabari Walker, Duop-Reath, and Chris Murray. None of those 4 guys were supposed to be starting when the season began or even playing big minutes. And you go in there and you fight, scratch, and claw, and hang with Minnesota. We'll keep things rolling here on fifth quarter. We'll come back with Coach's Corner, and we'll take your calls. Appreciate the phone call, Tall Tim. Blazers take the loss 119-114. They're on their way back to Portland. They'll start a 6-game homestand Wednesday at Moda Center against Oklahoma City. All right, Minnesota tops Portland tonight, 119 to 114. Once again, a great team effort from the Trailblazers. Multiple guys stepping up to make game-winning plays. They just came up short in the end. Strong start to the fourth by Minnesota put Portland behind the 8 ball, but Chauncey Billups probably very happy with his crew. Let's check in with him following the loss tonight.
I'm super proud, man. These dudes, they just don't let up, man. They don't give in. I just love it. I love it. I think that's our best attribute, as a team, period. We just don't matter who's playing, who's not, who we're playing, it don't matter. Like, we just keep grinding, and we keep playing together, and I was just so proud of all of them. I mean, Wap gets a career high today, played his butt off, man, Ant gets a career high in assists. So happy and proud of Roops, Roops getting the opportunity to get out there. I made some big threes, man, big threes, but I thought his rebounding was big too. Roops is just a scrapper, so for him to get that opportunity was a big deal. So many guys just played well, but I think as a team, we just fought, man. We just fought, so I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that for sure.
What did you think about your team defense throughout the night?
I thought it was good. I thought our defense was good. We were so undersized that we had to, try to get down there and put 2 and 3 different guys on Rudy and on Cat, for the rebounds, and then that opened up obvious three-point opportunities, but we had to do what we had to do, The free throw disparity really hurt us, It really, really hurt us. We had a lot of guys play great, but it's tough. It really is tough to win when you had that type of disparity at the free throw line.
There's no question. Plus 20 at the free throw line for the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight. They were 28 of 37 at the foul line. The Trailblazers just 8 of 11, and that was one of the deciding factors in this game. Also, the Timberwolves scored 25 points off of 14 Trailblazer turnovers. Wow. 25 points, 16 rebounds for Rudy Gobert. He also had 3 blocks. Let's go back out to the phone. Sean and Sandy. Sean, appreciate the call. You're up on the fifth quarter. What's on your mind?
Hey, Chad, we ain't winning many games, but I love the change in culture. I love what Coach Billups is doing. I just love it. And, we've been one of the most decimated teams in the NBA as far as injuries and changes and everything. And I love what the second-round draft picks are doing. That's another thing, too. I love what these guys are doing. They're coming in, they're playing good. And nobody's giving up on Coach. They're buying into what he's saying. Now, this is something I've been looking forward to for years. I mean, I'm just loving this. I really am, brother.
No, I'm with you. No, I'm with you, man. I like the culture change. You heard from Coach Billups there. He's very happy with the defense. They continue to fight, scratch and claw tonight. They were undermanned, and they're playing one of the best teams in the NBA, and they stayed right there. I don't know what more you could ask for from this group and what Chauncey had to play with tonight. That was good. They pretty much nailed everything that I wanted to see them accomplish tonight in this game, and it still wasn't enough because they're playing a team that has superior talent, and there's no shame in that. Checking the scoreboard right now, 2 games that are still in action. Third quarter in Sacramento, Kings on top of the Bulls, 69-56, and the Lakers, with 3 minutes left in the first half, lead the Thunder 38-36. We'll come back on fifth quarter, and when we do, we'll step into What's the Scoot. The Blazers now flying back to Portland to get ready to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder Wednesday. Tip-off at 7, game day at 4:30, and that will begin a 6-game homestand for your Trailblazers. A reminder, Justin Myers will have Rip City Mornings tomorrow morning at 6, and I'll be back with the Rip City Drive at 3. With Scoot Henderson, he's been out ever since the All-Star break with that adductor strain, but all indications would point to him returning to the lineup on Wednesday when they take on the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that's good news because that'll give him a chance to get in and play and have just over 20 games remaining in the season to continue to work on his game. Now, it might take him a game or two to get that conditioning back to where it was, but he's young. He's in great condition. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. But the biggest factor now is, one, he needs to play just to continue to develop. He also needs to get on the floor with Anthony Simons so the team has some data to be able to look at those two. Remember, before the All-Star break, the big key was Scoot was going to start the rest of the way, and they're going to play him and Ant together in the backcourt and have Ant off ball. They want to be able to see if Ant can do that because they've got decisions to make long-term about this franchise with Ant and Scoot and whether or not that could possibly work. And that's why they need these guys to play, and that's why Ant and Scoot need to be together. But most importantly, Scoot Henderson has got to be available. I think he would play if it were up to him, but the team's being extra cautious because of, the numerous core injuries they have seen over a very short period of time. So they're playing it safe, being smart, and I expect Scoot to be in the lineup on Wednesday when the Blazers take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right, that's going to do it for us. Big thanks to Mike Oakes for being at Master Control. I appreciate your time tonight. Our next Blazer broadcast will come up on Wednesday. Game day will start at 4:30. Chris Burkhardt will have game day. Tip-off at 7 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I will be on the Trailblazer Radio Network with the pregame show. And throughout the course of the broadcast, Travis Demers and Michael Holton will have the call. And, of course, fifth quarter following the game. Final score tonight from Target Center in Minnesota, Minneapolis. The Timberwolves top the Trailblazers 119-114. For Mike Oakes, I'm Chad Doing. Have a good night.